Hello everybody. In 480 on this day, Saint Benedict was born, the author of the Rule of St Benedict, which was used by monasteries that he founded and has become the most widely used rule for the organisation of monasteries ever since. It's also Ash Wednesday, of course, and it seemed that one of the aspects of the Rule of St Benedict could be a very useful way of thinking about what Lent is for. The rule was written recognising that we're all frail. It talks about what should happen if people are constantly late, for example, or if they grumble a lot, or if relationships go wrong. And it's a rule which is very matter of fact and down to earth, dealing, in other words, with people like you and me. And one of the elements that comes out most strongly is the need to accept who we are, to be ourselves. And one of the reasons for being secluded in the way that monks often are is to enable them to really discover who they are. Something which you're forced to do when you're in silence or on your own a lot. There are three vows that people entering a Benedictine community will make. One is the vow of stability. In other words, they will stay put. That means a physical, geographical staying put. But it also means an emotional and spiritual one, not running away from difficult thoughts, difficult experiences of aspects of yourself that you don't like, but embracing them and learning to accept them. The second vow is of, probably the best way of translating it is a conversion of life. It's the willingness not only to accept where you are, but to be willing to move forward, to be willing to grow, to be willing to become who you are in a more established and more rich and fruitful way. And the third one is the vow of obedience, which is partly about obeying the superior in the monastery, but it's also much more seriously about being obedient to God and listening to God. And indeed being obedient to yourself, being obedient to who you are, becoming who you really are, really listening to who you really are. And it struck me that these things could be something we could work towards during Lent if we're so minded. The ability to accept ourselves depends upon not running away from things that we know about ourselves that need dealing with. It means being willing to move on, being willing to grow, and it involves a lot of listening to our own hearts, as well as to the to God and to others who advise us and help us. So that's my aim for this Lent, to grow in the ability to accept myself. One of the things that the novice will say when they enter the monastery in their kind of induction is the Latin phrase suscipe me, accept me. But this word suscipe is the Latin word which might also be used of a father picking up their child. That kind of holding. And so I think for those of us who have a Christian belief, not only are we going to perhaps try and learn to accept who we are, but to know that within that knowledge of who we are held and loved and cared for as a child by their Father, as God holds us and embraces us as we move forward during Lent.